What's up, guys? Sub-Zeric here, back for another VOD review. Today we're doing another VOD from the TOC 8, the Summit Invitational, with some of the best players in the world competing against each other. And you can see that this is a stacked lobby. Look to the right there. Lillia, Double 61, Malala. These are three players who have won world championships in TFT. 3 worlds winners. We got Bintium at the bottom there. I would say the best player in Korea. Ice, a fantastic one of the best players in China as well. 2 other Chinese players that I'm not that informed about, and we're not watching any of them. We are watching Ego Illusion's POV. Ego Illusions is a Brazilian player, very, very strong player. I've heard his name a decent bit. I know he's played on NA a decent bit, so I think that's where I've seen him. And he stomped this lobby. He went first place overall after all the games were played, which in a lobby with 3 world champions and 1 player who, you know, could have been a world champion, maybe if he had high rolled some more or something. It's a pretty insane. It's pretty insane to do that well in this lobby. The other thing that I want to say before we actually get too far into the review is if you look over at the left there all the way, we are doing a promotion with Rush Royale. This is a mobile game. It's like a tower defense type game that's kind of similar to TFT where you can like upgrade your towers. So if you scan that QR code, download the app, I am doing a promotion similar to the last one I did with Call of Dragons, where if you guys get to those little like breakpoints, if you guys do these kind of like goals in the game, I will enter you guys into a free coaching giveaway. And you know, I know people really liked the last one where I gave away free coaching, and a lot of people really enjoyed their sessions that they got. And the main critique that I got was, I don't know, like I would prefer it be a mobile game because it's easier just to download it on my phone and play it there, as opposed to that one was like a desktop app that you had to like download on your computer and stuff. So if that's easier for you guys, download the app, do all those 5 little breakpoints over there. I'll put more details in my Discord, and that's where you need to put like proof that you've actually done the thing. But it should be, you know, it's kind of like a win-win, right? I get the benefit of making the sponsor happy, you guys get the benefit of getting free coaching. It all kind of works out. Any case, to go into the game so far, to recap what we've seen so far, because I've just been yapping about all this stuff. We took the You Have My Rod augment here, a pretty solid augment, especially when it allows us to make this Gwinsu for Janna, and we're going to play an early game that's focused around this Janna here. We got dropped a Janna 2 from Orbs, which is pretty hilarious. It's kind of interesting because, like, Janna reroll, not that great of a comp right now, but Janna, as a unit that can help you push levels, I think pretty excellent. So we are going to play Janna with this Store Weaver opener. We had the Yasuo too, but it doesn't really make sense with a Janna opener, and this makes a lot more sense, right? You can add a Diana onto this board, it's fantastic, and basically play a board like you'd be playing Janna reroll, but then just use Janna to transition into other stuff. Now, with a Gwinsu Slam, I kind of would have thought maybe we could actually angle into something like Ashe. The problem is that we have this You Have My Rod augment, so maybe not, but maybe like an Ashe Lillia setup or something. We'll see. I know he put into his team builder a bunch of Sage units, I believe, and I think his idea is I'm just going to throw this Gwinsu onto like a Morgana later, but we'll see. Maybe we can do some kind of like Story Weaver setup where this Gwinsu can go onto an Irelia late game. We'll see. There's a lot of options from this position. I like Cloak here, I think. Yeah, I love a Cloak here, especially when we know we're playing around AP. We've already burned 1 Cloak and 1 Rod, so it's going to be a little bit hard to get to like an Ionic Spark, but not impossible. And yeah, we can just level for this Aatrox here, get Bruiser in. He's thinking about moving the Gargoyle actually over to Aatrox, which is pretty surprising to me because I think quite poorly of this Aatrox unit, I would say. They are buffing him next patch, the patch that's coming out tomorrow, right? Because it's delayed because of the holiday. But yeah, we will have a new patch tomorrow. Aatrox is getting a little buff, so good for him. Maybe he'll actually be able to tank in some of these fights. But yeah, a little bit surprised to see him actually move the item over there. I probably would have left it over onto the Garen just for the possibility of hitting a Garen too, because now we kind of lose that possibility, though we are holding Aatrox Bear, so if we get Aatrox too, it all works out. We're gonna, of course, sell that Foley Bear there in order to make 20 gold, and yeah, we have a pretty smooth opener. Sadly, we lose that fight because we fought someone so strong. We scouted there and just saw someone with a Lowy 2+ Morgana, I think that was, so there's some scary boards that exist in this lobby for sure. This is not really one of them. This person playing 5 snipers to try to stack up their long shot augment, I think it's called, something like that, which is actually hilarious. Maybe I feel like they would do better to play at least 1 frontliner, but that's a pretty interesting tech. Just the Law Streak, play 5 snipers, and just have them all stack up that augment. I mean, I could certainly see like 1 or 2 frontliners and just play as many snipers as possible. I think that's what a lot of people end up doing, but the 5 for the Law Streak is not something that I've ever seen before, so pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's a solid opener. The other kind of downside to hitting this Janna early is that it kind of hurt our econ to have this Janna 2 made. It means that it's going to be a little bit harder for us to get to a super rich state in the game. But hey, this Galio is going to be a huge boon to our board. This is going to allow us to play 5 Story Weaver, just next level. And yeah, I think the static shift is is almost compulsory. You have to make Static Shift here. You've already got a Guinsoo made. It synergizes so well, and yeah, it's going to allow us to play a really strong board. We can just move items over to Galio, so it ends up actually kind of working out, though I guess, yeah, I mean, kind of no diff because we ended up just moving items off of Aatrox, so it ends up being fine. But I mean, this is a fantastic early game. The big question, right? I would say this is a high roll early game, but the question is, what are we pivoting this into? Augment-wise here, I don't really love any of these. He's maybe looking at Radiant Refractor, which is not an augment that I love. What was the left augment again? Let's look back here again. Oh yeah, you can't really take the Infinity Forces. Doesn't really need to really do anything, and I'm not confident enough to play Hedge Fund from this position, so I don't know. I really don't like Radiant Refractor as an augment that much. It would give us the possibility of, okay, yeah, I like the last roll there for stationary support, and then the idea is if we miss, you can just take Cybernetic Bulk. And yeah, I mean, stationary support, one of the best prismatics in the game. We picked this up, and it's a really nice dummy, actually. Zeke's plus Moonstone Renewer here. This is kind of a nice solution to some of the issues you can somehow have with dummy, where oftentimes when you take a dummy, there'll be kind of an awkward setup where you'll have... The worst one I've ever seen is Virtue of the Martyr plus Unstable Treasure Chest, where you want the Unstable Treasure Chest to die. I think maybe like Unstable Treasure Chest plus... I think I've even seen something worse than that. But, you know, like you want the Martyr to live for a little while. You want the Unstable Treasure Chest to die. So it's like really, really awkward. But this is actually really, really nice. You get to backline the dummy here. You want the Zeke to be backline and you want the Moonstone. Actually, now that I think about it, it wasn't that. It was Moonstone plus Virtue of the Martyr, I think. So you kind of want the dummy to die because Martyr, you can actually have that die. But yeah, Moonstone, you want it to backline. Virtue of the Martyr, you want to die at some point in the combat. And it was just crazy how bad that situation was. But it's so much better when you get something like a Zeke's here. Because Zeke's, you're going to want to backline that. Moonstone, you want to backline that. So our spell looks fantastic. Once again, I would just say the only question is, what are we actually playing this game? With a Guinsoo and a Static Shift Slammed, we have to play something APE. He's holding on to this Janna here for potentially maybe a Janna reroll setup, but after playing it a lot, I really love the idea of Janna reroll, but I've played it a lot, and honestly, I am the world's biggest Janna reroll hater after playing it just like too much over the course of this set. I would think we'd pick up the Gargoyle here, but he's looking for Glove here. Yeah, I would have been certain that we would pick up double Gargoyle here, but he actually goes for Glove Nico here. Maybe... certainly not just for the Nico, right? But maybe he wants the glove. I'm curious about what this glove's actually going to become. I'm surprised by this pickup. I definitely, if I was in this spot, I would just go double Gargoyle Galio, and I would say, okay, I'm probably playing like a vertical Story Weaver type game, and eventually we can get these items onto an Irelia. But it seems like that's not what Ego Illusions is thinking here, this glove. I don't know what it can be. It could be a Guard Breaker, perhaps, for also the similar idea if you're playing around Irelia, which is one of her best items. Also, this banner that he has up here just barely covers up some of the units in the top left. Kind of annoying, but you know, all good, I guess. We do pick up the Nico too, and we are going to level up for it here just to try to preserve streak. 96 HP and streak in this spell looks fantastic. And yeah, he's got an interesting board there. He's looking at Morgana Lillia as just, you know, it defaults in this spot. And I mean, I think that makes sense. When you're playing AP this patch, Morgana Lillia, one of the best things that you can play for, especially when you are going to be pushing levels, right? If you're not playing reroll, you know, if you're playing reroll, you can play Zyra, you can play Zoe, that kind of stuff. If you're not playing reroll, Zyra, or not Zyra, but the Morgana plus the Lillia, one of the best things that you can play. So, I mean, I think that makes the most sense. The thing is, though, with this many Jannas on level 7, if he naturals 1 or 2 more, he could look for a Janna 3. It'll be interesting to see what the rest of this game actually looks like, because there's basically 3 lines open, right? There's vertical Story Weaver, like I talked about, which is a little bit awkward with these items, but you can make it work. There is this Lillia Morgana line that seemed kind of like default for him, and then there is also like a Janna reroll line if you hit a bunch of Jannas. So I think Ego Illusions will just play good TFT, play flex TFT. We'll see what happens. This extra glove ends up being even more awkward because I'd love to make like a redemption here. But yeah, he goes for the Guard Breaker. So I think maybe, I mean, one Guard Breaker, pretty solid item when you pair it with a Static Shiv. The Static Shiv can help proc that Guard Breaker, and Guard Breaker, pretty good item onto Morgana, pretty good onto Lillia. So maybe Ego Illusions, maybe his read on the meta is that Guard Breaker is a really, really strong item. I kind of agree with him when you think about it that way, so I could certainly see that being his idea. The other thing is that Guardbreaker can go onto Irelia later, so you kind of have both worlds open here. He rolls once and it's Story Weaver +1. I feel like that's got to be the pickup. Oh no, wow. No Story Weaver +1. He takes the Salvage bin. I feel like I would have absolutely just taken Story Weaver +1, played towards 7 story, and said, you know, I'm happy enough with that. But I think his idea is, wow. I mean, this is really, really cool stuff. This is really high level, like, playing your best TFT. He's going to take Salvage bin here. he makes the TG on bench and then immediately realizes that he has to remake it. You can't make it on bench and then move it because you have salvage bin. But he's gonna make salvage. He's gonna take salvage bin here and go for max cap TFT gaming here. The double bows can end up being a red buff potentially, so that makes a lot of sense. And then you're left with Rod and Tier, which works out really well. Maybe like a JG down the line. He's gonna play. I mean, there's so many things that he could play from this spot. I think he's still looking at that Lillia plus Morgana comp, but similar to the VOD that we watched yesterday, where we were watching replay play and he was open to a lot of options. Also, there's an Irelia if you were interested. I think, I mean, she's a fantastic unit. We could just play 7 story with the Story Weavers, but I mean, I doubt that we're going to do that. But hey, I mean, maybe, probably not, because we're not holding onto a Sivir, right? We'd have to go back and find the Sivir. So I think he's not even that interested in playing a vertical story game. And yeah, he sells the Irelia. I think his idea is maybe that this comp is just not strong enough. Kind of similar to the way, once again, that we replay played yesterday, where he says, this Lillia Morgana comp is so strong that I'm going to aggressively angle for it, and I can play another comp to get into that comp. I don't have to just play Story Weaver and then play Story Weaver, but I do want to keep in mind that this comp exists. And I mean, he's still holding onto the Silas pair here to flex Silas. I feel like this is such a nicely played game so far, and I mean, the big thing will be sticking the landing, right? We're holding onto the Azir as well for a potential like Invoker setup. He's holding like 4 or 5 different comps here on his bench, just waiting to see what he hits first. And I mean, this is really, really nice stuff. I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised. I thought maybe this was going to be like a high roll early game into a really straightforward late game, but this is an incredibly difficult to navigate late game. So I'm just excited to see what this pivot ends up actually looking like, what we end up playing here, and really how Ego Illusions makes it work, especially with Salvage Bin, which is such a high cap augment. It's so hard to play around in spots like these because you're just gonna have so many components flying. I could even see him just roll more at the end of this stage and just try to start pivoting his board there, because he's got to move all of these items with Salvage Bin. It's really hard to do that on the fly on something like 5-1 really, really quickly. It makes a lot more sense maybe to roll next round. That's certainly what I would look at doing here, is just start rolling here. We get an extra item from Salvage Bin. Looks like he's not going to go for the... Okay, he sells, so he's getting Lillia in, and he's starting to... Yeah, he is going to start making the pivot, but he's not going to roll too much. He's going to make a JG plus a Shojin here. I like keeping the red buff open here, so maybe that's like a death cap red buff. Then you also have a Morello there. Okay, there's our Zyra that needs to come in. Galio can be our front line here. Diana's a very solid unit to put on this board. Gotta fit the Zyra, right? Yeah, absolutely. I know we want to make a heal cut item. I think the red buff is just the best option because it gets rid of those bows that you want to deal with. But no, he's going to make the Morello here. I mean, Static Shiv is a fantastic way to kill that. Yeah, so we're going to kill that way. And then maybe Nashers is our last, item onto the Morgana. I love this. He does actually have still an Anvil open here, but I feel like he really stuck the landing on this board. This looks really, really nice. He didn't get too dizzy. He made the random Galio too, to just sort of like keep his board intact, and he hasn't even really overrolled at all here. I mean, this is a board where he's Lillia 1, Morgana 1, and I think Ego Illusions might be looking at a fast 9 in this spot. I mean, it's not the fastest 9, you know, he's not 9 at 5-2, completely skipping 8, but like we've talked about so much before this patch, it's really hard to actually just skip 8 in this patch. You need to roll and find some of your units on 8, and I think he says with the Galio 2, he might be stable enough to actually push 9 here. We'll see. We end up losing this fight. We do have a ton of gold here. The big question is how many out. That's 3 Lilias out on one of those players' boards. I didn't see how many Morganas they had out, but that's going to be an annoyance here as far as getting your units this game, because yeah, 3 Lilias out is going to make it hard to hit Lillia 3 or Lillia 2. Not impossible. I mean, it's going to be very hard to hit Lillia 3. But yeah, I think after he's scouting so quickly, so maybe that's the only person playing Lillia. I'm not actually sure. We'll see, because that could be another reason why he's hesitant about rolling here, and he might prefer just a level 9. Because say like Lilua was playing Lillia, like, you know, they all fled back into the pool here. But we'll see what the rolling pattern ends up looking like here, how we want to do this. We have Shiv, so we don't need a Spark. I don't know what you actually even want here. He is going to take the Spark. I don't even know if it's for the Spark or for the components, because like I said, he already has the Shiv. Oh, was it on a Morgana there? No, it was on an Amumu. So, oh, but he does, right, he has the ability. He could have made a lot of different things there because he actually has that component anvil open. Really, really smart of him actually to keep the anvil open. But he ends up just leaving the Spark there and saying, I just want the double shred on this board just to guarantee it. I'm surprised that that's our best option here, but maybe it is just the only thing that he could have built there. Yeah, like I said, a little bit surprised actually, because I don't think double shred is amazing in this comp. I think double shred, like getting a Spark would be good in something like a Cinder comp. Also, Ooh, what's the Exalted here? Because he just checked Exalted. If he puts Ornn in, there's 2. The last one is Lissandra. Certainly something that you could swing. Certainly possible. A little bit awkward to fit, and I definitely don't think you fit it right now, but maybe that ends up being our setup. And he's even looking at the Hui, so yeah, he's going to sack one more round here. He lost 4 fights this stage. And then we're going to pivot this board again. We are going to full pivot this board into, well, maybe not full pivot. We'll probably keep like the Galio on our board unless we find some really good tank here. But we are going to pivot into a Hui carry board, play around this Ornn and probably the Azir as well. I think that's the idea. Yeah, so it's the Ornn. What was the 3 cost that was on there, by the way? Okay, so it's Zyra. Zyra, Ornn, and Lissandra. A little bit tough to fit. He's considering the Darius, actually. Darius Lissandra? I mean, one, he'd have to find the Darius. That's a tall order, again. Also, he's got to pivot his board next round, so this is going to be a big test of how good of a player that Ego Illusions is here, because this is a hard pivot to make here. Hits the Rakan 2, hits the Lissandra. He doesn't have to full pivot the board this round, right, but he does have to roll a lot of his gold here. Gets the Ornn in here. Yeah, he's not full pivoting the board yet. He does get the Lissandra in, and he finds Lillia too. I love this. Not getting too obsessed over like one version of the board or anything like that, and he's going to Edge of Night his Lissandra here. He did get 3 Exalted in on this board. Looks like we're going to lose this fight as well. 26 down to 9. Ooh, I think that was a pretty solid pivot, but when you skip level 8 in TFT, scary things can happen. He's looking at getting the Azir in here over the Morgana. Morgana, really nice user of these items, so yeah, I don't think you can even do that. Picks up a Ornn 2, which I think you have to buy, and so yeah, this is his board. Rakan actually rolled some fantastic items, and this is really beautiful play from Ego Illusions to not clump up for this Nautilus here. You can easily lose this fight if you're clumped for the Nautilus here, but beautiful play by him to win that fight against Bintium there. I love this spread. The dummy out here, it's giving Zeke's value to both of our most important units, but we don't have to put them right up next to each other. And yeah, he finds the Hui, but he says, I can't fit this onto this board right now. So yeah, I love that positioning versus Bintium. Looks like, yeah, versus a duelist board, you don't have to worry about clumping up. So we're actually, you kind of want to clump up so that your units can all focus down the same units, but we are just going to keep our guys over on the left side here, put our Galio in front, and there's no way that this duelist board, look at their augments, by the way, duelist +1 keepers and tiny but deadly, fantastic augments there, and we still beat it with our really nicely capped board. Also, we just pick up another component here, which is really nice, and also pick up a Crown Guard here, which could go on the Ornn, could go on the Lissandra, probably just want their Lissandra item here, I would think, and I mean, I guess, yeah, you can break it open here. I don't know if, I kind of liked the Crown Guard. I guess you could go like Gunblade, Sunfire. I don't know. I kind of liked Crown Guard Stair Axe a little bit better, but I guess Sunfire guarantees the heal cut, so I could see it. He does make the swap again, though this time we are a little bit clumped for this Nautilus, which is, like I said, scary. We'll see where the lines end up going. I didn't actually, I think the Lillia did end up dodging, but we still end up losing right at the end there. Really close fight, though, and I think I am really impressed by how Ego Illusions played this game, taking the salvage bin and being really open to playing very flex TFT, playing a really cool board, and just, yeah, playing really good TFT. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Once again, I'll wait until it refreshes one more time to go to the QR code. This is your last chance in this video to do this. Yep, there it is. So scan that, download it, do the things in game, and then send screenshots to my Discord, and I'll enter you into a coaching giveaway. It's gonna last for 2 weeks, by the way, so you guys got some time, but sooner rather than later, just to guarantee that you can do it. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.